Discovering that you or one of your family needs a bone marrow transplant means the start of an intense search to find a suitable donor. But your chances of success are vastly different depending on your ethnicity.
Yes, for white patients, there is a 1 in 5 chance of finding a matched donor who is unrelated to you. But for African or Caribbean patients, it's 1 in 100,000.
Blood matching is also affected by ethnicity. 20% of the African and Caribbean population has blood group B, as opposed to only 9% of Caucasians. So the demand for group B blood is high, yet less than half of 1% of blood donors are from black, Asian or minority ethnic backgrounds.
Well, this week, at the start of Black History Month, there's a campaign to increase the number of donors. One person who desperately needs a bone marrow transplant is Sandra Hines from Rugby.
Her life changed in a matter of weeks, almost without warning. Here's her story in her own words.
While I was on holiday in Tenerife in 2008, I started to have double vision in my left eye. When I came back, I went to my opticians, who did an eye test and then referred me to my local hospital. I then had a CT scan, and they didn't like what they saw, but called me back 2 days later to diagnose me with a brain tumour. Once they did that, I was admitted to hospital straight away, and further tests were made, and I found out that I was diagnosed with leukemia, multiple myeloma, which is a blood cancer. I started off having oral chemotherapy, which included a steroid to reduce my brain tumour, and then was admitted into hospital in September, where I had high dosage chemo, which basically destroys the immune system. The stem cells then that they collected from me prior to my treatment were then reintroduced back into my body, which has currently made me at stable condition. I've reached my plateau, but eventually I will need a bone marrow transplant. All my family were tested. I have 6 brothers, 2 sisters, and absolutely nothing. There was no match for me at all. So, you know, it is really imperative that I have that bone marrow match, because if I don't, I will die.
Well, joining us in London's studio is Beverly De Galle, who is the co-founder of the charity African Caribbean Leukemia Trust. Beverly, thank you for joining us. Tragically, you lost your son waiting for a match. Can you tell us what happened?
Well, actually, my son did get a bone marrow match, but it took 6 years of campaigning to raise awareness in the black and mixed race community to try and find him a match, and eventually a match was found for Daniel in the USA. And in 1999, Daniel received a successful bone marrow transplant, but sadly, due to complications when he was in his late teens, he developed a condition called hemolytic anemia, which meant that Daniel then went on to require 3 to 5 units of blood every single week in order for him to continue with his university studies. And unfortunately, it all became too much, and he passed away in October 2008.
Now, Beverly, as our statistics showed just now, the number of ethnic minority donors is very, very low indeed. Why do you think that is?
Well, it's due to a lack of awareness and actually a lot of apathy in our community. Unfortunately, there seems to be the view that if it doesn't affect me, then it's not my problem. But actually, through the work of the ACLT charity, which was set up by myself and my partner to raise awareness in the community about blood-related cancers, about bone marrow transplants and blood donation, the tide is starting to turn. People are starting to register.
And
but
Beverly,
it's very difficult.
Beverly, is that enough? I mean, how do you go about persuading the black community that they need to come forward?
Well, as blood donors, since Daniel passed away, we established an annual event in Black History Month called Daniel De Galle Blood Donation Week, which we encourage the black and mixed race community to donate blood en masse in this week, starting today, finishing on Friday, where we're asking people to go along to the National Blood Services donor centres to donate 1 unit of blood, which is approximately 475 mils of blood, which will be donated to up to 3 people. And so 1 donation can save 3 lives. There are a lot of myths and fears in our community about blood donation, bone marrow donation, organ donation. And the ACLT, working with the National Blood Service and organ transplant teams, are working together to try and ensure that the community does respond and that actually they do attend these sessions that have been set up specifically in Black History Month, in Daniel's memory, to encouraging our community to give blood en masse, given a little bit of ourselves, which actually helps us to achieve a lot.
Okay. Beverly De Galle, thank you very much, and we wish you continued success with your campaign.
Thank you.
Right.